Good morning and welcome to Going to Work with Gena, which is an infomercial for STEM students. I am Dr. Gena Henderson. STEM students, this week I want to dedicate every day to girls doing STEM. And I will finally have a session on Thursday where I will actually speak at noon, introducing a girl to engineering. All right, but let's talk about girls. Let's talk about some practical things that's going on with girls. And one of the most practical things that's going on with girls is girls are getting together and they are discussing math problems, they're discussing science problems. At the Seminole High School, one of the freshman classes for algebra, no, it wasn't algebra, it was actually geometry. And they were going to have to use some concepts of algebra to actually do the geometry problem. So that means that these girls, the teacher gave them a problem. They were dealing with geometry and right triangles, and they had to go back and they had to revert back to Pythagorean theorem. And I just want to go in this morning and actually on the board finish this problem for them. Although I do believe my daughter actually worked the problem out right for them. I just want to let everybody know that sometimes when you are in one class, you will use your skill set from another class. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's called maturity. And I keep telling everyone that math continues to grow. It grows on you. You basically take all your tools and all your skill sets and you use it for the next class. So hold on a minute and I'm gonna go in and work this problem. Okay, so I'm back now. I'm actually in my office with one of the conference room next to my office. And remember, I have a math major working with me, and that's Paige A. Johnson. So what I'm going to do is actually go here and show you that this is the problem that was being worked, which was a right triangle, okay? It was a right triangle where the teacher gave the side to be x, 2, and x plus 1. Okay, so they're in geometry class, but they're going to have to go back because it is a right triangle and use Pythagorean theorem. Okay, so you got to know in Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, so you know your hypotenuse is always c. So this is the hypotenuse. So you can choose either side to be a or b over here. But what you want to do is you're going to put the values for those sides into this particular formula. So this becomes, the A becomes X, and the B becomes 2, and the C becomes X plus 1. Okay? Now, when you go ahead and square that, you get X squared plus 2 squared equals X plus 1 squared. All right? Now, you're going to actually go ahead and say X squared, 2 squared is 4. Okay? X plus 1 squared is x plus 1, x plus 1. Okay, you want to make sure that you can do the FOIL method here. And when you do the FOIL method, it's first, outer, inner, last. Okay? So when you do that, you get x squared plus 2x plus 1. All right? And all of that is going to be equal to x squared plus 4. Now, what you have is you want to get like terms to each side. So what you want to do is go ahead and try to move this x squared over to this side by subtracting minus x squared. And when you do that, it drops out. It drops out. Okay, so now you're just left with 4 on this side, and you're left with 2x plus 1. Remember, we still want to get like terms to one side. Okay, and when we do that, we're going to move this number over here where the 4 is. And to get rid of this 1, we're actually going to add a negative 1 to each side. Because what you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. When you do that, you're left with 4 plus a negative 1 is 3. And you're left with just 2x because that goes out. So now, you still want to get x by itself. Because the whole thing is to determine what is x. What is x? All right? So when you go back in, x, you're going to divide x to get it by itself by 2. What you do on one side, you do on the other side. So now you know that x is equal to 3/2. But that's not the end of the answer. Because if the teacher asked you what all of the sides were, you would go back and say that this side, x is equal to 3/2. Okay, b was always equal, b was always 2, right? Because that's one side, it was always 2. But this c here is now C is equal to 3/2 plus 1, which is what? 5/2. Okay? So that, you got to go back and you got to insert the X. Okay? So I want to thank you for going to work with Gena this morning. If there's any infomercials that you missed, please don't hesitate to go to YouTube, going to work with Gena, and we're doing it all for girls this week. Thank you.